You ever saw a comment on a post that made you just be like, you know, bravo, bravo, like that's very poignant, it's very profound, I had one of those experiences recently. I was watching a video from some random person. They talking about their encounter at the gym, but he was trying to like speak to a lady, right? And he noticed that he wasn't really getting the attention of this lady, right? So he starts to talk about the fact that as he observed this lady, right, in a kind of stalkerish way though, that's a little stalkerish, but as he observed this lady, uh, he noticed that she wasn't giving him the time of day, right? And you know, he saw that there was like an older person there, an older man, and the older man he kind of dressed in some um, designer type of stuff, designer clothes, designer gym bag, so on and so forth. And so he started to ponder and say, you know what? It seems like the average person is having like a difficult time because he's saying like the man who is considered average, right? The man who's considered average is gonna have a very difficult time in the dating arena because he feels like most ladies they attracted to people with means, people with apparent wealth, right? Wealth that they can display continuously and that they can enjoy lavishly, right? So I got to thinking, it's an interesting story. You know, um, I've had some encounters where trying to meet a lady, right, and I had some mixed reviews. I had some positive, I had some negative, um, but I never really gave it much thought. I mean, I thought about it. I thought about it, and I said to myself, this person's story was getting interesting, you know. And so he began to talk about his own personal attributes, and you know what? He described himself as average by comparison to other people, right? Now I going somewhere with this. Okay, so now people commented, right? In the comments is where stuff really be going down. So people commented. It was mostly like a pity party, Everybody was saying, "Oh no, man, you're not average. Uh, you're a good dude, or you're a good person, and you don't appear to be average. You downing yourself too much, so on and so forth." But then there was one dude who was really zen. He commented and said something powerful. He said, "You know what? It's not the fact that you're average or not average." He said that in most social situations, people are unable to navigate successfully. Most people, I can summarize it and say most people are socially inept. Okay? Now, there are some people, when placed in a social situation, their self-esteem, their psychology, their insecurities all weigh heavily on the way that they respond to people. And in some situations, most people would rather flee a social encounter than actually navigate it in a dispassionate or in a mature manner. So you might think that when you approach a person, just in general situations, you might think that the response is just due to your lack of integrity or your lack of ability to communicate effectively with a person. But the reality is, many people are actually socially inept. I looked at this comment and I said, you know what? He went really in depth, you know. He went really in depth. But what I gleaned from it was that, you know, in social situations, a lot of people, they've never experienced um, having this type of interaction. And if you approach a person outside of the mannerisms and character or attitude that they usually would encounter, most times people will just put up a wall. They put up like a barrier, and would make it difficult for you to engage them. Now the person who commented, you know, he tried to make it seem like um, it was mainly about women. He was speaking about it from the point of view of women, but I don't really think it's isolated to women. It's actually all human beings. Okay, in the type of society that we live in, people are becoming less social. People would rather engage you in via electronic means or via technology rather than speaking to a person in up close and personal. You know, and because of this, because there's no more of the regular human socializing that used to take place in our grandparents' age, right? Because of the lack of this type of activity and regular socializing, I think um, most times people will um, avoid social encounters. You know, they will avoid social encounters because, you know, it's something safe. It's something that will allow them to maintain the control of their self that they aspire to. You know, because when you, for example, if you meet a person and you find that you immediately disarmed by this person, right? Um, where you feel like you can be persuaded by this person because of your attraction, right? Um, for many people, that's like a scary feeling because, you know, that would mean they would have to um, abdicate some of their personal space, their self-control. You know, it's not comfortable for many people to engage a person who they are attracted to because in some cases they feel uncomfortable and so on and so forth. But, you know, I didn't want to go too in depth into this. But I said, man, wow, you know, this person really hit the nail on the head. I think in many cases people are socially inept. So if we can't really engage in a social interaction outside of electronic media, that's really a really sad state, you know. Like Dennis Brown put it the best when he told the lady in the song, he said, "You don't know what it means to be loved." You know, a lot of people don't understand what it means to be loved. So when you try to love them, they would rather harm you emotionally, psychologically, because this whole idea of losing control of oneself or giving control of yourself over to an emotion, some people don't really know how to deal with that. And, you know, you'll find that some people, if you take a conversation beyond hi and bye, that's shaky territory, all right? Because they're used to sending emojis, LOLs, so on and so forth. They're used to sending messages in the DM rather than actually having a face-to-face encounter with a person and being able to be vulnerable. I think it really speaks to people being unwilling to be vulnerable, you know, and vulnerability seems almost like a curse to them, like it's something to avoid, you know. But, you know, just let me know what your thoughts are about this issue. Do you think that people being socially inept is what is a barrier in like courtship? or people attempting to engage members of the opposite sex? Do you think that ineptitude is a factor in people being unable to have like a cordial discourse? Let me know your thoughts. One love.